So while you're a young chef, if you aspire to be extremely good at it, understand that you will probably have to work extremely hard at it, and there's really no shortcut. And just find something that is enjoyable for you to do. Like if you don't enjoy doing it, you won't be able to put the work in.
Hi everyone, welcome back to another episode. My name is Kevin O and this is Monday Arvo podcast. Joseph Lidgerwood is an executive chef at Evett in Seoul. He shares the story of how he ended up in South Korea and how he constantly pursues his dreams at Evett. Grab a coffee or tea and get ready for a chat this Monday Arvo. How are you?
Very well, very well. Excited to be here.
Nice. Thank you for being on the show.
No, thank you.
How you been for the last 6 months?
Good. It's been very busy. Moving the restaurant in this lovely space kept us quite busy, and then going into Christmas. And now I think over January, February, when it slows down, I've had a bit more time to reflect on everything and then really kind of think about the future of the restaurant and everything like that. So yeah, it's been a busy 6 months.
Right. When did you move?
We've been planning for years.
Right.
But then we finally found the space, and then we started going full throttle on getting everything sorted around March, closing the old space around in July, and then full opening here, like for regular guests, was September 1st.
So it's last 6 months?
Yeah, the last 6 months has been, it feels like a lifetime that we've been here, because you spend so much time in it that I think that this is it.
Even before you were like thinking about it, designing it, and then like you spent so much time
into it,
imagining this space.
Are
you happy with it?
I think especially with fine dining, it's always like glass half empty. I feel like especially you're always kind of thinking about what even like now today we're going to talk about our kind of plan for what we need to, now we've been in the space for 6 months, like what do we need to improve in the kitchen? What do we need to put a new garden outside, the signage, the floors, the new display? It's kind of like a never-ending thing. Yeah. So overall we're really happy. Really happy with the bigger kitchen space. I love the dining room, and I love the function of these private rooms. So overall, yes.
I think a lot of people would be curious about how you ended up in Korea.
Yeah, it's kind of a long story.
Right.
I've got the short version of I think it's the medium version.
Yeah, medium versions would be fine.
Version.
If I have questions, I'll go definitely further into it.
So obviously originally from Tasmania, Australia. I was working in the UK at a lot of very good restaurants. And I've been there for about 7 years. And if anyone who's worked in the UK, it's a bit of a grind. Big, long hours, like 100-hour weeks, like pretty mental. And I think I'm getting to like 26, 27, and we've been doing that for 7 years. And just being quite over it, a bit burnt out. And a couple of our friends, we got together and we decided to do a pop-up restaurant group. It was originally in New York, so I kind of quit my job, went to New York. Didn't have, like, normally I'd always had a job lined up next, kind of like, we'll take a holiday while I'm going to the next place. And this one was like, didn't have another job planned. So went to New York, did this pop-up, had a lot of fun doing this pop-up. And then we continued to do that, this kind of pop-up restaurant group. And we created this restaurant group that would go to a country. And for 1 month, we'd spend a couple of weeks traveling, learning about the culture, the food, collecting ingredients along the way, and opening up a pop-up restaurant at the end of it. From the pop-up restaurant, trying to gather enough money to pay for the tickets and the flights to the next country.
Right.
So it would be like a 5-day pop-up, and just happen chance we were quite lucky to start in America, and we got picked up by big writers like Eater and those kind of big kind of things. So we had a pretty nice following from the start, and we managed to do that for like over a year, and doing stuff like we did Base Camp Everest. We did trains in Vietnam. We did bagel shops in Taiwan. We went to France, Oman, South Africa.
That's insane.
Yeah, like all these crazy different countries, not the crazy countries, but these kind of crazy places that you wouldn't have known about before. Like when I grew up in Australia, especially in cooking, you hear about foods and you have maybe those restaurants in your country, but to actually go firsthand and see the culture of like Nepal and seeing the food, and before then I just thought it was kind of like Indian food, but it's like the spices they use are completely different, the flavor profiles are completely different. And seeing that firsthand was really, really eye-opening. And then by happen chance, one of the countries along the way was Korea. So we came to Korea, did a pop-up, loved it. And then when the restaurant group finished, one of the places that I really wanted to come back to and explore was Korea. So I came back by myself and just did a couple of pop-ups because we've been like 14 or 15 months without having like a real job, like just living out of a suitcase. Like we would do these pop-ups. So if we did a pop-up in like Beijing, we'd finish the pop-up on like the Saturday, because we'd be Tuesday to Saturday pop-up. Saturday night, we would pack everything, like pots and pans, into our suitcase.
No way.
Go out, obviously drinking because we're 26, 27 years old. And then have like a 7 a.m. flight in the morning where we're bringing all our stuff, and then and then you'd land in like Myanmar the next day, and you'd be like, okay, we're starting this whole thing again. And then so after 14 months, it's like, do I want to get a real job? Not really. So I went back to Korea, started doing pop-ups again, and then managed to kind of get a following from that. Along the way from that, I told you it was kind of a medium-long story. Along the way there, kind of got to 2 years of doing, maybe a year and a half of doing pop-ups, and was like, I've never worked at like a 3-star Michelin restaurant. I was like 27. I was like, maybe like, am I going to just be doing, like, after a lot of pop-ups, you kind of realize you have quite a limit of what ideas you can do and your techniques. You see the range, like when you're cooking at a restaurant, you're like, I want to do this dish, but you can't ever get to do it really, especially at the high level. And then when you get to do it, it's like really fun for the start. And then after a while, you see the limit of your skills pretty quickly.
Only
like
so much you can
exactly.
think of.
And then you're like, I kind of felt like a bit, I need to be doing, like I kind of want to do a bit more and learn a bit more. So, and also for my career, I wanted to work at like a well-known restaurant to help myself gain investors and stuff like that, which is kind of like a hard step that I see people having to transition to within my friend group. So I went to the French Laundry in America, and while I was there, someone who'd come to my pop-up in Korea really liked it and offered the space. So that is the reason. And then I was kind of in America and I had to decide whether I wanted to stay and work at this lovely restaurant or come to Korea and open my own space, and I chose to come to Korea and open my own space. So was a crazy journey. Wow. 5 years ago now, so it's been 5 years.
That's incredible.
Wow.
When you first decided to come to Korea, and then when you were opening Evett, what was the most challenging thing that you've been through?
I think Korea is like a really interesting country. It's very great place to live as a foreigner. I think it's really safe. The people are really nice. Has so many good aspects. I think it's very hard to be a business owner in Korea. I think if you don't, like me and my head chef were talking yesterday. There was another restaurant with a foreign head chef, Korean wife, who opened a restaurant. Because it's called Minju or something like that, and they just recently closed just because it was English. You can't operate in English at all. You can't call any of your suppliers. You can't do anything like that within that. So I think the language barrier when you first come into Korea is so daunting that it just makes you get through it, but then it just wears you down because Korean's not a language you can learn proficiently in a year or 2 years. You wouldn't be able to, even if, because while you're working, you can't just be a student. So you have to be a business owner, which is the most demanding thing ever. When you open a restaurant, you're putting in these long hours, so you can't really study enough, and then you can't really order anything, and you can't be self-reliant. So that is the biggest challenge, I think, and that's why you don't really see a lot of foreigners in Korea in the restaurant industry, unless they're kind of brought over from a hotel or have this kind of large network. There's no like small business owners who are foreigners who are kind of in hospitality. So I think that one is the biggest challenge, I think, and still is really. It's not something that's ever going to really change overnight.
Yeah.
A restaurant opening in the first year, like the success rate of a restaurant in the first year is like 1 in 10. Like to be open after a year, like the amount of restaurants that close within a year is so high. And then if you put on, like you're struggling, like you're in the top 10% if you succeed past a year. And then if you put like a couple hurdles in the way, it's like it's definitely difficult. So
right. How long you been here for?
In Korea, 5 years, 5.5 years. Literally landed in October, opened in November, so pretty much the same
right.
time.
Right. Then was there anything that you learned throughout running the Evett that you never thought of before?
Yeah, I think the kind of the biggest thing you'll realize is that no one will really work as hard as you for your dream to make it come true. Like you open this place and you put your life and soul in it, and then it's quite hard to see. You have to kind of accept that some people will just come in and do a job and go home, and then that's definitely a learning curve to do. And then also I think you have to, especially when you're opening a smaller restaurant, you have to be able to do everything and know like the amount of cooking that you get to do is startlingly small. Like I think it would be down to a small percentage of your day is actually physically cooking. A lot of it is just, and you'll see this with most businesses, it's just team management is the hardest thing. Like staff retention, like you're constantly working out how you, especially in hospitality, which is quite a hard field, you're just trying to work out how are you going to keep your best people for as long as possible, keeping them motivated, trying to drive the restaurant forward. And then like on the substack of your priorities is like what you actually want to do, which is like maybe 8th on the list. It's like, oh, actually I wouldn't mind cooking today, which would be nice. You're constantly trying to keep that whole dynamic. And then there's waves where it doesn't go well, and waves where you're like, oh, it's great now. And that's
trial now.
Yeah. So I think that was the biggest kind of, because I think, oh, I'm going to open a restaurant, I can cook my own food in my own space. And it's like, good luck with that.
Good luck, mate. Seriously.
It's not how it goes.
No. Do it at home.
Yeah, exactly. If you want to do that, then spend your day off doing that.
Right. Where do you usually get your inspiration and motivation from?
The two different ones. I think my motivation for it normally is driven by like deadlines. Like we have spring menus coming up. We have kind of like these hard deadlines in Korea of like Sonal and Chuseok.
Yeah.
Where actually they kind of pivot around the season. So we know like when we're going into the January, February holiday that when we come back, we need to be pushing hard on the spring menu. Same for the Chuseok. Once we come back from that, that's kind of like the end of summer, and it kind of marks the autumn. And then those kind of deadlines kind of help us shape the menu and put new dishes on. And that's kind of the motivating force of like, okay, we need to keep pushing and keep driving. The inspiration comes from meeting the people and getting out. That's why I try and get out of the kitchen as much as possible. We were lucky enough to host Barago restaurant last year, which is a really nice, one of my favorite restaurants in South America. And Rodolfo, the chef there, is just insane. Really great inspiration because he's never really at the restaurant. He's kind of traveling around and building the restaurant and keeping it going. And I kind of see like thinking about what I want to do. And I love meeting people. I love building dishes. I love doing that part of it. So I'm trying to shape my daily work around finding better produce. And then meeting people and talking about stuff really shapes the food, because it's not really the produce, it's more about how like the artisans or the producers and stuff work with that, and hearing stories. Like you hear this like, oh, I used to, when I was walking to school, we would pick jindale, eat it on the way, and my mum makes a chon from it, and all these kind of like little stories that you don't really know if you don't grow up in Korea. No. And then you hear that, and then you get inspiration, and then you're trying to adapt it into what you think people would like here, and that's kind of the inspirational part. Yeah,
and the passion as well when they talk, and you can feel it. You know?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Was there any favorite Korean native ingredient that you found?
I think the one that we always have on the menu, like the two ones that I think gennip or perilla leaf is one that's always on the menu. I love the profile flavor. For anyone who doesn't know, it's kind of like shiso, but a lot more milder, I would think, and not really seen as a luxury ingredient. So that's why we like to kind of present it in different ways. I think when you came, we had it as a juice at the start, maybe. Yeah. That's one we really like. And I also just love the abundance of seaweeds here. There is just so many different seaweeds. There's like kim, mesengi, tot, dashima. There's just so many different seaweeds. Like kamte. There's just so many. It's cool to see just so many different stuff and the different flavor profiles and utilizing that in our food as opposed to different seasonings, like seasoning broths and stuff. That is a constant source of inspiration.
Great. After having dinner here, I thought you were really good at utilizing and recreating something, traditional Korean stuff into a modern form. For instance, like squeezing and serving makgeolli on the table side, that was pretty memorable. Yeah. Like serving on the meju and the upside down gut is the plate, stuff like that. And how do you connect those two, like new and old?
Yeah, I think because here in Korea, there's a lot of great places that do traditional food. There's a lot of good fine dining restaurants that do contemporary Korean. And then what we want to create here is something completely different. It's like, I'm not from Korea, so it's like I don't really want to just be doing some really nice samgitang, because it doesn't feel like true to like what we are here as a restaurant. We're essentially like, we have 10 nationalities in the kitchen that all focus on Korean ingredients, and we're just trying to showcase maybe bits that people don't see as interesting and cool. Like I think Korea still thinks like it still prioritizes a lot of kind of like French or Italian or these kind of like luxury ingredients over Korean ingredients or Korean culture. And I think we love this place so much that we just like, the first time I had freshly squeezed makgeolli, when you're having like the wonju from a Hungary, it's just like mental, like the fizziness and everything like that. And then it's like, that's amazing. Like, why can't we get that at a fine dining? That's the thing that I wrestle with the most. Is like, I love fine dining, but my God, the food, like the matjips and stuff, the food is just so hard to recreate in a fine dining setting. It's like, why can't we have beautifully fresh, fizzy, squeezed makgeolli? But fine dining is supposed to be like this expensive pinnacle of cooking. Why is it that on my day off I can just have like a $5 makgeolli out of a Hungary, and it's so much better than here? And it's like trying to bring that to fine dining and also capturing those just really cool memories that we've had here. So it's normally like, but we're kind of at a nice stage now where we've had enough time to see Korea and like lay it up. Like the hat came maybe after the second year. The makgeolli was only this year. What was the last one you mentioned? Meju. That was like, I think like we probably get like one mind-blowing dish per year. I think that's kind of like, so we keep those ones on and kind of stack them and then just kind of find so it's like, it's good now that we've had enough time that we can kind of just stack these amazing moments on each other. So,
Yeah, I can really relate to the story that you told me earlier. I went to Gyeongdong-시장 yesterday with Steve Lee.
Oh, amazing!
And then
amazing.
We were just like walking around Gyeongdong-시장, and we ended up in this.
Were you downstairs?
Downstairs.
By the kalguksu restaurant. Were you down like by the cold? That is my favorite restaurant.
No way.
That is my favorite restaurant. I have taken so many people to that restaurant.
Jesus. Like the 안동집.
Yes.
Yeah, that's it, mate.
That is that's so funny. Because I was just before I was going to wait till the story finished out and then tell you, go downstairs. So you went, and then the best thing about that is like because they have the outside and the inside. If you sit outside, there's like when it's like snowing outside, the seats are heated and you sit there with a broth and it's just like it is. Sorry, I love that place.
That's exactly what we did yesterday. I was pretty hungry and we sat down on the ground level. There was like a pocha, two emos doing their stuff. The sundae and hoppabokum looked really good, so we were like, oh, we'll have those. Yeah. As soon as we had the first bite,
it's just like
a bottle of makgeolli.
Yeah, exactly. And
then kept on, like exploring Gyeongdong-시장 downstairs. I didn't know which place was good and famous and whatnot. I saw a guy was carving the posam. And I was like, that is a good quality posam. I just can't not have these. But we walked past first time because I was so full and a bit afraid to tell Steve to eat again straight away after the hoppabokum and all that. I just had to walk back there. Didn't say anything, but he knew that I have, I don't know what's in English, but miryun, I have that. Like craving and wanting to eat that posam.
He was ready.
And I was like walking past, and then he was like, "Hey Kev, if you want, we can have it. We can have it." And then we asked for the price. He said it's 12,000원.
Can't buy anything in Australia for 12,000. Buy some bloody paddle pop these days.
Few Eclipse.
Yeah, that's it.
So we sat there, ordered the posam,
Yeah.
ordered the pechujan,
Yeah,
right
a little
after the
sauce
meal. Yeah, all the sauce. And we were like, these make us so humble.
Yeah.
How can we beat these?
You go, yeah.
This is fucking the best posam I've ever had, and
Yeah.
it's 12,000.
Yeah.
And then we were selling our food hundreds of dollars.
Yeah, and it's like, yeah,
It's insane.
that's the bit I think I wrestle with the most.
Right.
And I think, kind of, if you want the best food, I don't know if fine dining is going to be it for it. But I think what fine dining can do is like hopefully create a memory or something experience. I think that's where it has its space. That's where I've kind of landed on.
Yeah. True.
Yeah. Especially in Korea, there's just no beating the Ajimas, man. They are too good.
Yeah, you can't beat
Yeah, you
like emo.
No, they are
Such
excellent.
a great culture that we
Yeah.
have. I appreciate so much.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah. More I live in abroad, more I appreciate about those like Korean unique culture.
Yeah.
It's so great. Oh, congratulations on the Michelin star.
Thank you.
I think earning a Michelin star is one thing and retaining it is another.
Yeah.
And you were the Young Chef of the Year back in 2021 and
Yes.
Michelin stars for 5 years in a row.
Yeah, wow.
It must be a lot of pressure on your shoulder. How do you handle that?
I don't know, really. I don't really think about it on a day-to-day a whole lot. There's always kind of pressure come Michelin time, whether we're going to... I feel like the biggest pressure was the first year to get it, because we're in the middle of nowhere. And we weren't super busy. And we knew that if we had a Michelin star, it would at least... Like, we thought we were doing good stuff. But when you're only doing 2 guests a night, it's kind of like, oh, is this going to be good or not? And we got a Michelin star. And I think if we didn't have it, if we didn't get it at that time, we wouldn't have gotten through COVID for sure. We would have just closed, and that would have been the end of the story. But then I feel like kind of we've always been improving this restaurant and moving the space. So I've never really kind of thought we're going to lose it. Maybe it sounds a bit arrogant, but like I think we opened and it was me, our head chef Ben, one paid person in the kitchen and 2 stagiaires, and then 2 people in the front. So I think there's like 5 people for a 1 Michelin star restaurant, which is mental. And we made it work. And then like the next year, because we're busy, suddenly you're a team of 10, and what you're able to provide for the guests goes up. So we never kind of felt that, like we thought it was better this year than last year, and we've kind of always felt like we're always moving and driving the restaurant forward. And this year we've moved the restaurant to a bigger space, and I think the food now is better. The concept is more dialed in. We kind of have a bit more. So the pressure of that isn't there as much. It's kind of trying to stay pressure. I think most businesses will always kind of deal with is kind of the financial element of like, how do we remain profitable? How do we, like we've poured $2 million into the space, so it's that's not that'll keep you up at night more than Michelin. But I think it's there's always like the month before, it's like, oh, are we going to get 2 stars? Are we going to lose a star? Is this going to be this? Is it going to be that? There's always that kind of pressure going in. But yeah, I think on a day-to-day, it's not super pressure.
Yeah. Instead of thinking too much about it, you just focus on being better every day. And
I was trying to like, yesterday we're in the PDI now, so we had a 12 top in here. And we had a famous champagne maker here. And the day before, he went to a restaurant and he was like, oh, I really want French fries. And then we did this like joke course yesterday where like we had this like egg dish and we made some French fries, like these little French fries, and we brought it out to him. And just like seeing the look on his face of just like, how did you guys know that I was like craving French fries?
Did he just shove it in his mouth?
He was just loving it. Like all the guys had to watch him eating some French fries. And then they finished with marshmallows out on the deck, and it was just like, it was just so much fun to cook, and it's like, that's so much worth aiming for than trying to cook for like one, like when you think about a Michelin here, or kind of anywhere, you're only cooking for like someone who comes into your restaurant once a year, twice a year. Like that's not something you should really prioritize the guests. And the rest will follow.
Yeah, definitely. Where do you see yourself in 10 years?
I'm probably going to go back to Australia, I think. I think we'll probably see this restaurant out for another 5 years now that we've moved in. And then probably in my 40s, I will probably go back to Australia for 10 years with my wife, who wants to spend a bit of time in Australia. Also really want to open a kalguksu restaurant in Tasmania. A little
That'd be great.
Yeah,
Cold weather.
makgeolli, I'll just go kalguksu, bechuchan, just make some makgeolli, hang out for a bit at a time. Life's crazy though, like it's like you just trying to predict where you're going to be is just like flipping a coin. But yeah, at the moment we're super enjoying what we're doing. I feel very lucky to have the team that we have now and what we're able to do, so it's pretty wild. So hopefully 10 years just doing more of what I love, and wherever that takes me.
Maybe in Australia.
Maybe in Australia. I would like to see myself in Australia, or if not, like kind of a byoljang, like a little holiday house somewhere, like Bruny Island.
Bruny Island, yeah.
Bruny Island.
Have some cheese.
Make some cheese, get some oysters from Get Shark.
Oh my God.
Go throw some stones on the river. Yeah.
Yeah, such an amazing country, man.
Yeah, it is. Especially, I don't know, but Tasmania is like, my wife doesn't want to go to Tasmania because she thinks it's a bit boring, a bit too slow, like Melbourne or for some reason Adelaide. I don't know why. But hopefully see you soon down there.
Yeah, man. Work and life balance, how do you maintain that?
Like kind of my personality is I don't really like to rest a whole lot. Or I don't know if it's that. I just think a lot of my interests tie into things that people would class as work. So even like traveling down and meeting farmers and stuff like that directly benefits the restaurant, but it's also something that I really like to do and enjoy. So there's not a whole lot of time that I'm just like watching Netflix at home kind of thing. Something I struggle with personally. I think everyone's different, but I think now we're in a good spot, but where I can design the day of kind of like what I want to do. So I'm kind of in a spot, but I think it's understanding that there's going to be parts of your life that you're not going to have the perfect work-life balance. So like if you're opening a restaurant, you're only 4 staff, aiming for work-life balance would be pretty terrible. But if you see that out and you put all the effort into it, today I get to hang out with you for an hour, then I get to go and start working on the new dessert in the little test kitchen that we have at the front there, which is all ours. Like I can just work there by myself and listen, like that's dream. And then the evening service, if I need to do anything I can. Tonight I want to be on the service, so I'm going to be in there. And that's kind of like 5 years of not being able to do what you want, so you can kind of create what you want to do. And I think understanding like that if you want to get to being able to, like, I don't know, I think freedom is being able to do what you want, or having at least 90% of what you want to do. You're going to have to go through periods of your life where you just have like a compromisation of that.
Yeah,
so
you gotta put in.
Yeah, exactly. And I think
to it. What do you normally do on Monday afternoons?
So recently, my kind of schedule is Tuesday to Saturday at Evett. Sunday is the day that me and my wife Ginny, we have off completely because she does that. So I always have that blocked out. And then Mondays are kind of project days. So if there's something that I need to film or something, I normally do the Monday on that one there. Or if I have normally once a month there's something that's not happening, I'll do like a massive catch-up day. So I'll either be like studying Korean, which I normally try to do daily, resetting my life with like my fitness plan or kind of like all that. And then probably do that through the hour and then probably catch up with a friend for a beer or something in the evening, and then that's the thing. Nice. Recently I've been doing these like kind of friend gatherings, so we don't really cook a whole lot anymore, but we have this nice kitchen, so I normally do like a chicken roast and champagne. We're actually having one this Sunday. If you want to come, Kevin, if you're free, you can come to chicken roast. So I've been doing that once a month. Get like roast chicken. We've got some lovely gumtae this week, so I'll cook that over the barbecue. So we normally just cook there, crack a couple bottles of champagne, and then brings the dessert, and then it's a really nice day. So that's kind of like my once a month as well. And then I get to cook over the fire and get to cook like, and then think about, why don't we do that? Or
inspiration from.
Yeah, exactly. Like cooking a roast over with a glass of champagne. Why don't we cook it like this? And then get back to work and realize that it's really impractical.
Right. You mentioned about studying Korean. How is learning Korean language?
Extremely difficult. I think it's...
Have you been trying since
the start? So yeah, I think from when I first came, like I knew that like I needed to have a basic understanding to do the restaurant. So I went to Konggukdae학교 for about 3 weeks until like I couldn't quite we were building the restaurant, and then I was trying to do the language school at the same time. And then halfway through, it was just like impractical. Like I wasn't being able to meet the builders and all that stuff. So I had to kind of get rid of that idea. And then opening the restaurant, I just couldn't find the time to do it. We were trying to learn, and you kind of learn bits and pieces and pick up words here and there. And then over COVID, suddenly it was dead. So I had a lot more free time. So I was doing a lot of Zoom classes. And now, I kind of prioritize it quite heavily. So I normally do like an hour of study a day, whether it's in the morning. And I have one lesson per week of a private tutor. We come in and just kind of revise my stuff. So it's kind of very much in my things I like to do and keep progressing and try to keep getting better at. But it's not like there's so many people here who've been here for 5 years. Like especially you see the foreigners on TV who are so good at Korean. It's always like,
am I
ever going to get
Jonathan?
there? Yeah, Jonathan. Or you've got
crazy.
Tyler Ross, the guy's just insanely good, and it's just like amazing. So it's always disheartening, but I think it's nice that I think the cool thing about Korea is like even if you speak a small amount of Korean, it's so that people just appreciate it a lot.
Yeah.
So going to the farm, being able to talk to them in Korean, they're always like super thankful. So keeps me learning. So
we do that. Like if like Caucasian says 안녕,
like
they're like
안녕하세요. Wow, 잘하시네요. Wow, 어떡해. So wow, like but then when if like anyone else, like you need to speak English, and if you say one word wrong, like oh, it's foreigner.
Yeah,
like,
second language.
Yeah, it's just it's pretty terrible, right?
Yeah. Korean has quite a few different dialects.
Yes.
Have you ever wanted to have one of them?
There's one I don't want. This might sound really bad, but I was recently down at the Busan accent. I just found really hard to. Like when I first came, I couldn't really tell the difference. Like when I would go to Jeju, and then my wife would go, "Oh, I can't understand what they're saying." It's like, oh, kind of like my daily life.
Yeah.
But then now, like recently, we went down for the Michelin Award in Busan. It was just like it was really hard to listen to. Like if it's like really like that ending, it's just like so. Even when they ask a question, it's going downwards instead of upwards, and it's like.
Are you speaking Korean?
So like the taxi driver was like, kind of goes like that, and it's like, wow, it's like, it's nice because then you understand a bit, like, oh, like I'm starting to get a bit more fluent where I can understand, I can hear the tones. The cool one is like when you go down to especially like the Cholanamdo area where they like to add the D at the end, the little like the D so it's quite funny, especially the Ajumas or the Halabojis like. There's a little D at the end, which is quite cute. So I think maybe if I get old, I'll be like an old grandpa here, and I can speak with a Choladamdo,
할아버지.
Yeah, 할아버지.
Cholado, Joseph 할아버지.
할아버지 coming out with my little hanbok.
Jonathan is, he's a bit different story. He was born in Congo, but he went to school.
Does he even speak English? Like he's
not much.
No. It's like most people I think there's like I saw him on a TV show where they got all these foreigners who are foreigners but they don't speak English, and they just started like speaking English to them.
And they were like hello.
Hello, and I think it was like I remember that one.
Cool.
That's a cool one. That's a cool accent, I think.
Right.
But it's cool the regional accents here in Korea, and like where my wife from is like they always say "shu," like "안녕하슈," "어디가슈," like that one. That's quite cool as well. Is it Cheongju? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
어디가슈.
It's very interesting, and in some way, it's very attractive.
Yeah.
I love
to learn the
it.
different.
Yeah. What is your guilty pleasure in food? Like something that you eat when you are stressed? While you think about it, I'll share the one from previous episode. My friend from Horapa.
Yeah.
He said he eats Haribo sour.
Oh, that's
and
nice. That's a good
Pringles
choice.
original.
Pringles original.
And he eats it together.
Oh, okay.
Apparently, it fixes him up.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Like mine, because I think I had it Monday because we filmed all day and I was all collecting Yongan, and that is back-breaking work. And it was the last day of the shoot, and I was like, oh, got home, and mine is the Kinder chocolates. So like the King, I don't know what they're actually called. They're not Bueno. They're not like the crisp outside. They're just like the 4-pack chocolate, and you get 2+1 because you're in Korea.
Yeah.
And then you get a beer, and you get 4 chocolates, and you shove them in your mouth, and this is so much sugar, and then you wash it down. Just towards the end, you crack a Cass, and you wash it down with a Cass. That is insanely good.
Great.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try.
You have to put all 4 chocolates in your mouth at the same time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's easy.
You know the ones I mean, right? The white packet, and has like the small chocolate. Like the outside is dark chocolate, the inside is like the Kinder white chocolate.
Right. I will
Don't
find
mess it
one.
That is like, and then you eat all 3 packs in like a minute,
Right.
and it's just like the best.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
This is a little tricky question for you. If you have to give up one of the following options, which one? It's for your,
Is it speed round, is it? Or how many is
No,
there?
no, no. You can think about it.
Okay.
But it's for your rest of the life.
Rest of the life. Okay.
Yeah. First one: beef, pork, and chicken.
You can only pick one.
Yeah. Give up.
You have to give up one. Probably
Yeah.
pork.
Pork.
Yeah.
Wow. Pork.
Pretty controversial in Korea, I know. I think with beef, you've got nice. And chicken. Chicken's underrated, I think. There's a lot you can do with chicken. It's going to be mine.
Pork.
Pork.
You can give up samgyeopsal.
When you put it like that, then you're gonna give up Hanu. You're gonna give up samgyeopsal.
But if you have to choose
chicken
one,
soup, man. Chicken soup is life.
fried chicken.
Exactly. Chimek.
Crazy. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Second question:
Yes.
rice, noodle, pasta is included here,
Yeah.
and bread.
That's harder. That's a lot harder.
Yeah, especially you were born in
Bread
Australia.
is so
and
beautiful. I can't give up bread, so let's put bread on the table. And then it's rice. I would have to be rice.
rice.
Yeah, because
Right.
I love soups, right? I love noodle broths. I love the slipperiness of that. So, rice.
Not Korean enough yet.
Not Korean enough, exactly.
Last one:
Yes.
butter versus olive oil.
Easy. I would give up olive oil.
Oh,
Easy.
everyone says that.
Yeah. I don't think. Are you an olive oil fan? Are you on the olive?
Yes.
Really?
I can't give up that drizzle of olive oil
Yeah.
at the end of.
And you get it soaked up with the bread, and then you get the it gets like that little chewy sourdough. That's good, but butter just has so much
I
more
know.
application.
Yeah, true. I think I've never seen one person stays with me.
Yeah.
Everyone chooses butter.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I just.
You'll find that person. Don't give up, Kev.
I don't know. I can't. I've been cooking Italian food for a long time.
Yeah.
And then olive oil is
Super good for you as well. It's
Yeah,
really
yeah,
good for
yeah.
you. Really good for you.
great. I think it's time for the wrap up the show now.
Amazing.
Asking the last main question.
Lovely.
10 years ago, what were you doing, and what sort of advice would you give to a young talent who are at that stage in hospitality industry?
Yeah. A question I get asked a lot, and I think it's kind of changed a lot. Maybe because I'm getting a little bit older now. I think anyone entering hospitality, it's hard because most of the time you just don't even know what you're doing really. You're kind of like, oh, I'll try this, or give this a go. I think if you are serious about making hospitality your profession, you kind of have to work out where you want to be where you are when you are 35 or 40, and aiming for that. So, like, if you're just happy to follow the path, then you can kind of easily just show up and do what you need. But if you really want to, like, I always knew I always wanted to be able to, by the end of it, I never wanted to have to kind of ask someone for days off. I think that was the main thing. I was like, I never want to be like 45 and be like, oh, I've got to ask my boss to see if I can have a Monday off to go see my daughter's rehearsal or something like that. I never wanted to be in a stage where I couldn't like do what I wanted to, and building that part. So like I did an immense amount of staging, or essentially just working for free, putting myself in places where I knew I would have to, like working at the library in London is you start at 6 a.m. and you finish service at 11 p.m. and then the meat order arrives, and then you're prepping till 1 a.m. and then you probably get home at like 1:45 and you go to your fridge and you cook up 4 or 5 eggs because you literally haven't eaten because of the stress the whole day, and then you fall asleep for 4 hours and you do that on repeat. Like you do all that stuff, so then you have to, so then by the end now I can do this, and understanding that if you want to be, like if you see the chefs on TV or you see the chefs who have these things, you will have to sacrifice a lot. And if you do that earlier and you do that, and you, especially while you're young and you probably don't have like, you can't, like I can't do a 18-hour day now without feeling wrecked the next day. So if, while you're a young chef, if you want to be, if you aspire to be extremely good at it, understand that you will probably have to work extremely hard at it. And there's really no shortcut. There's not unless you're going to be some little YouTube influencer, food blogger guy, then you're going to probably have to put in a lot of work and just find something that is enjoyable for you to do. Like if you don't enjoy doing it, you won't be able to put the work in. So if you want to open an amazing cake store and that gets you jacked up, then go and stage at a cake shop on your day off, learn about it, absorb it, and then do that during your 20s, and then by your 30s if you've worked 90 hours or 80 hours a week, whether it's reading or absorbing that information and putting that into practice, by the time you open your cake shop, the person who's only put in 35 hours or 38 hours, which is like the thing, you'll have a higher chance of success. And like I know in Australia as well, you can't really work past that, but I've never been to a place that I went to, knocked on the door a couple of times, said, can I come and work for free on the day off? I really want to learn. Most people will take you in.
100%.
Yeah, like I worked at a bakery next to my house, just learning how to make croissants when I was 19, and like everyone needs hands. Like, and if you have a good attitude, turn up every time, take it seriously, like your job, not just like, I'm not getting paid, so I don't have to be there on time. I don't have to be neat, tidy, and clean. If you just treat it like your job, people will respect that, and you will learn a lot, and they will teach you as well. So put in the work and do stuff that you're passionate about, I think is my
advice.
And my little gonde mile, as they say in Korean, just like my yes.
Right. Once again, thank you for being on the show.
No, thank you, man. Thank you.
It was great fun.
No, it was very cool. Really cool. Thank you.
Cool. All right, everyone. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you guys in the next episode.
Let's do it together.
That's it.
Yes. Nice.